time to be with us this morning. We're really sorry for your family's loss. We know that you are all deeply grieving right now. But when you see what has happened overnight in Minneapolis because of the anger and outrage about your brother's death, what are your thoughts this morning?
Well, I want everybody to understand that it's just like a child searching for attention. They're doing everything positive and nobody's listening. And all of a sudden they just start acting out. So I want, everybody to be peaceful right now, but people are torn and hurt because they're tired of seeing black men die constantly over and over again. I spoke to uh, Eric Garner and mom and Reverend Al Sharpton, and her son couldn't breathe. He kept saying he couldn't breathe, and my brother said the same thing, that he couldn't breathe, and nobody cared. And these officers, they need to be arrested right now. They need to be arrested and held accountable about everything because these people want justice right now.
And what is justice for your family? What does that look like?
Justice is these guys need to be arrested, convicted of murder, and given the death penalty. They need to because they took my brother's life. He will never get that back. I will never see him again. My family will never see him again. His kids will never see him again.
Have you watched that video of your brother's arrest?
I watched the video. It was hard, but I had to watch the video. And as I watched the video, those 4 officers, they executed my brother. The paramedics, they drug him across the ground without administering CPR. They showed no empathy, no compassion. Nobody out there showed it. Nobody.
It's just hard to understand what was happening. I mean, it's hard to understand what they were thinking and what they were doing in that video. Your brother was at most suspected of a nonviolent minor crime. And so when you watch that, how has your family tried to process what you saw on that video?
It's right now. It's hard. We're pulling together constantly. A lot of crying going on for justice. It's just constant. You can't go anywhere. Every time you look up, you see it on TV. His lifeless body. They just drug it across the ground, and we all, we have pain, a lot of pain, and everybody has pain right now. That's why all of these things are happening. So it's just, if anything could work out in a whole nother place right now, I wouldn't want this for anybody else. I'm just tired of seeing black people dying for anything.
Yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone. I mean, we hear that so often in the past since your brother's death. So many people, obviously, that don't even know your family have come out with that same sentiment that enough is enough, that something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. Mr. Crump, the mayor of Minneapolis has said he wants to see this officer arrested and charged. Have you been in touch with the prosecutor's office?
We have been in contact with the mayor's office, the prosecutor's office. We have not talked to the prosecutor, but they're scheduled to talk with us today, if not in the next hours, because the family wants to know when the medical examiner will be finished with their autopsy, because his family wants his body back to give him a proper funeral and also to have an independent autopsy, because they do not trust Allison, the city of Minneapolis, after they witnessed their brother on the ground begging, pleading for his breath. saying, I can't breathe, but yet they offered him no humanity by keeping their knee on his neck, while members of the public are the only one that were trying to de-escalate the situation and save his life. It was the police who continued to the family to escalate the situation by keeping the knee on the neck for over 8 minutes. I mean, that is unconscionable when you think about a person who is supposed to be a professionally trained police officer hearing the pleas of a citizen who they have swore to protect and serve, but keep his knee on there. It's like Philonise was saying. What is it? Is it two justice systems in America? One for Black America and one for white America? We can't have that. We have to have equal justice for the United States of America. And that's what I think the protesters are crying out for.
Yeah.
We want justice.
Philonise, I see how hard it is for you to even listen to Mr. Crump describe what was happening on the ground there.
Yes, ma'am. It just hurts right now. I'm constantly seeing it. This is gonna be forever. This is not a one-time thing. It's gonna last forever, and it's hurt constantly. It hurts a lot. You know, I grew up with him. That was my oldest brother. I love him. I'm never gonna get my brother back.
I'm sorry.
We need justice. We need justice.
Yeah.
Those 4 officers need to be arrested. They executed my brother in broad daylight. People had to film that. People had to see that. People pleaded for his life. Kids, I know they were out there seeing this. Nobody wanted to witness that. Nobody. Nobody should have to witness that. And I understand and I see why a lot of people are doing a lot of different things around the world. I don't want them to lash out like that, but I can't stop people right now because they have pain. They have the same pain that I feel. I want everything to be peaceful, but I can't make everybody be peaceful. I can't. It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, it's not your responsibility, Philonise, to make everybody be peaceful, but we hear you say that that's what you want and that that's what you would prefer from the protesters, obviously. Mr. Crump, you know, the prosecutor says the videotaped death of Mr. Floyd, which has outraged us and people across the country, deserves the best we can give, and that is what this office will do. If he's outraged, then how long can it be until you see charges filed? Does that tell you he's inclined to charge these officers?
Well, we haven't heard directly from the prosecutor, so we don't know what he is inclined to do. We know that it shouldn't take long, Allison, because we've all seen the video. We've seen the probable cause. People in Philonise and our communities, we know people get arrested with far less probable cause than having a video. I mean, it was the same in Ahmaud Arbery case, and they still took all that time. We don't want 8 days to pass. He had that knee on his neck for 8 minutes. We think he should have been arrested that day, the officers. So every day that passes, Allison, is like another day of injustice, not just for this family, but for people who care about equal justice in America. And so we want justice immediately. We think justice delayed is justice denied. And that's what you see. And I want to say this, Allison, about the protesters. I've been in communications with people like Tamika Mallory, who's on the streets there in Minneapolis with Until Justice. And she says to the protesters, be very aware of who's beside you, because they know that there are some people who are instigators there that are not there trying to have peaceful protests, but are trying to instigate riots for their own ulterior motives. We don't need that. We need people focused on getting justice for George Floyd.
Philonise, I want to give you the last word. What's your message to police? What do you want the rest of us to know about what your family is experiencing?
To the police, I want them to get everything right. Start doing your job the right way, because I haven't been seeing it years and years down the line. I haven't been seeing it at all. I'm tired of seeing black men die. Black lives matter too. I want it.
I'm sorry, Philonise. I know this has gone on so long, and your family is just the latest deep wound with all of the pain that you've been
I just
feeling.
want justice.
Yeah.
I just want justice.